former England captain Michael Vaughan joins us again. Vaughanie, it is looking a tad ominous. We'll get your thoughts on how it could play out today in a moment. I just want to get your reaction to day 3. It started with England very much in the contest, but of course finished with them well behind. Can you remember a more trying day for Captain Ben Stokes in his tenure?
Morning, Jim. All the credit from the victory in Melbourne, that 2-day victory, which England celebrated. All that credit kind of was lost yesterday. It was a really poor day for the England team. That first session, the bowling wasn't there. The fielding has been a story throughout this Ashes campaign. And, when you see a day like that, I see an England side, look, they're trying, but they're kind of realising, I think, now that this Australian side are just better. I said after day 1 that the Aussies were off. They were off in Melbourne, but really good cricket teams know how to switch on, and that's exactly what Australia have done from day 2 onwards. They bowled brilliantly on day 2, and then they got the bat in hand, and they really have made this England attack look very average. Apart from Josh Tong and Bryden Carse at times, Ben Stokes, this England side and attack has really been got by this Australian batting lineup.
Gee, Ben Stokes, we know. We've talked about him all series. He's literally carried this team in and out of matches, and it's so hard to be critical of him. Clearly, he has been one of their best. But there are questions about some of his tactical nous, and you've walked his path as a skipper, Michael. Are there genuine flaws, or is it really simply he's doing what he can with the squad that he's got?
Oh, he's giving it everything. Ben Stokes, up until this series, I put him right up there with some of England's greatest ever captains. Some of his tactics over the course of the last 3 years have been absolutely fantastic. I look at the way that he's managed a young spinner like Shoaib Bashir, who hasn't played on this trip. Ben Stokes has got the best out of him, but for whatever reason on this tour, his tactical kind of side of his job has not been with him. For him not to have taken at least one new ball throughout this tour is staggering. For him to have bowled the donkey overs yesterday from 66 to 80 overs with the old ball and not to take that second new ball, that England had to win that moment, again, was remarkable. Josh Tong also, he opens the bowling back home for Nottingham. He hasn't opened the bowling here. He's been with Ben, England's best bowler. Bryden Carse doesn't open the bowling back home. He has opened the bowling here. He's travelled with the new ball. With the old ball, he's bowled nicely and got plenty of wickets. So you have to question the tactical side, and fundamentally, Australia are better. That's the fact. Australia have players that play better in these conditions. And you look at how many of the Australian players have been missing. Pat Cummins has only played 1. Hazelwood hasn't played a test. Nathan Lyon has played about 3/4 of a game. Steve Smith missed 1 test match. All right, England have lost Jofra Archer and Gus Atkinson, Mark Wood. But, for Australia to have had so many great players missing, and it looks to me like are going to win the series 4-1. Tells you that English cricket have got a few home truths to answer about playing cricket in Australia, because in 4 years' time, if they don't do something about it, and that's the structure back home and the realisation of what is required to play down here in Australia, the same story will happen once again.
Look, that's a really good point you make, and I appreciate, obviously, there's still a match to be played out here in Sydney, but we know there's series reviews already underway, and you've been mixing with many of your contemporaries around the commentary boxes. There's Sir Alistair Cook, Graham Swan's here as well. So what is the feeling amongst you former England greats about what happens after Sydney and this Test team along with it set up? A loaded question, I know, but they've got to turn this around somehow, Michael.
Well, there's a frustration with not just ex-England players, but I think a lot of the ex-Aussie players. We generally all felt that this England side, with the talent that they have, led by Ben and Baz, had a great opportunity here in Australia. I mentioned all the Aussie greats that haven't played. This was a chance for England, and they haven't taken it. The preparation was very poor. Their stubbornness in the way that they play has been very poor for a while now. They haven't accepted that you need to go up and down in the gears in Test match cricket. And obviously their bowling has been found wanting. And the one thing that I'd never thought I'd say, Ben Stokes' tactics haven't been quite right on this trip either. So, look, this England group have got a lot of thinking to do, a lot of accepting that things haven't been right. Look, we know at the end of Ashes tours, particularly when you've had 2 goes at trying to win the Ashes, generally personnel does change. But, if this management carries on, they clearly have to carry on and change. They have to change the culture around the group. They seem to have created a cult around the way that this team play and talk. A lot of it is nonsense, and that has to change. And for English cricket to get back to the winning Test series, 5-match series, you've got to remember they haven't won a 5-match series since 2017, and we've had some flamboyant times, some exciting times in recent years, but they haven't won a big series, and that's what English cricket has been known for 20-odd years. We've won some big series home and away, and this team has won in Pakistan, they've won in New Zealand, but you don't get remembered for winning in those countries. I'm not degrading Pakistan or New Zealand, but you just don't, at the end of your career, you don't have that on your kind of CV. It's about what you do against India, what you do against Australia. Do you get to a World Test Championship finals? Do you win World Cups? And in the last 3 years, we haven't done any of those things.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Matt Potts yesterday, you just had to feel sorry for him. But could this be the making, perhaps, of some of these younger players, Michael? I know it's tough times at the moment, but fast forward 18 months, could this be the building blocks to the return?
Yeah, I mean, I don't worry about 27 in England. We'll be very competitive. We're a competitive cricket team always in the UK with the Duke Ball at venues that, you know, we know that we play well at. A lot of these players are going to be back in 4 years' time, and that's the learnings from this trip, is that all these players that have been here, they're young enough and good enough to learn from this experience and make sure that in 4 years' time they gather all the information that has worked, and there's not been a great deal that has worked, but there has been some things that have worked here in Australia, and they also gather all that information that has been wrong, and make sure that in 4 years' time when they come down here, they're better prepared, they're hardened. There'll be a more experienced cricket team because, as I said, a number of these players will play for the next 4 years. They'll be changed and there'll be younger players that come in. There'll be new players that come into the group, which is great. But a number of these players will still be around. But it's so important that they're not stubborn and they don't just think, oh, we had a little bit of bad fortune and, you know, preparation was right. We just didn't quite get it right on the field. The preparation here has been, you know, at times shambolic, and they've got to accept that. And in 4 years' time, they've got to make sure that they get it right. All
right, back to the match. What total is too much, and are you worried about how this plays out today?
Yeah, I've seen this movie before, Jim, that the Aussies are 134 ahead, and they've still got 3 wickets in the tank. They've got Mitchell Starc coming in next, Scotty Boland. The Aussies will want to get at least 66 more, a 200-run lead, and then what I'm looking for from England is, you know, a real fighting performance in that second innings. But it wouldn't surprise me at all, Jim, if this is Usman Khawaja's last day in Test match cricket. It just gets, you get a sense at a ground, a pitch that's, it's going to do a little bit with that new ball. There'll be a little bit of spin for Bo Webster, Travis Head, if they get to the spinners. And England are going to have to fight very hard to cause any kind of shock, but they're going to have to fight hard to take this game into day 5.
Well, if it is to end today, Vaughan, we do really appreciate, as always, your insights and analysis. It's been fantastic. Do enjoy it either way.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.